What's up guys, Nick here, probably better known as Theheyyman, and today I'm going to be showing you how to put your own artwork into an ice sole bottom. First we'll go over the things that you're going to need in order to make this happen. So, you're going to need a Dremel, and you're also going to need some Dremel bands. I prefer the 60 grit, a scratch awl, or a screwdriver, something just to get under the threads on the sidewall. You're going to need a bone folder, or I've seen people use butter knives to separate the upper from the sole. You're going to need some kind of brush. Toothbrush will work just fine. A hammer, a mask, protective eyewear, very important, glue brush, some rags, some clear glue. I prefer this Col de Cologne Renia brand. You also need some acetone, and finally whatever artwork you plan on putting into your ice sole. For this one, we're going to use the KC Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers artwork in honor of the Super Bowl. So, alright, let's get started. Okay, so first thing you want to do is you want to take out your laces and your insole from your donor pair. Next step, we want to remove all the sidewall thread. So you're going to take your scratch awl or your screwdriver, and you're going to, if you look inside the shoe, you'll see where the thread begins. So you're just going to go on the outside and start pulling that thread out. One thing I like to do to make it easier on myself is pull the inside thread out. That way you're not struggling to get under these threads. Now that we've removed the sidewall thread, it's time to take the upper off of the sole. In order to do that, we have to fill the shoe with about 5 ounces of acetone. So I like to pour enough in that it covers the entire bottom, and then you just kind of swish it around, make sure that it's hitting all the sides of the inside of the shoe. After soaking your shoe in acetone, you want to wait about 15 to 18 minutes before you try to remove the upper from the sole. I've been waiting already, so I'll get right into it. You want to take your bone folder or your butter knife and very carefully just get in between the sole and the upper. Okay. When you're doing this, you want to make sure not to put any pressure on the sole itself because it can rip. All the pressure should be back onto the upper. Now that we've removed our uppers from the sole, what we want to do is remove this air unit in here, all the foam and the air bubble. This is a little more difficult, but again, you want to pour acetone in and wait about 20 minutes. And then same thing, use your bone folder or your butter knife and start prying it away from the edge. I'm just prying it away a little bit to try and get some of this acetone up under the foam. Okay, so now that we've removed the foam piece from the actual rubber sole, our next step is dremeling through the white rubber until you expose the clear. This part requires the most care because at any point you could go right through the clear rubber. So you have to be very careful when you're dremeling. Take it slow, and as soon as you start to see clear show through, move away from that area. Alright, now we're going to get into dremeling. You want to make sure you have your mask and your protective eyewear because it can get dangerous. Stuff out of here so that the artwork will glue in there properly. Alright, so I just got done scrubbing these with a brush, soap and water, just to get all of that extra dust out of there. So now we're clean, we're dry, and we're ready to install artwork. Before doing that, we have to pattern the inside of both of these soles. Once you have the entire inside covered with tape, what I like to do is I like to just kind of follow the edge and make a mark all the way around. And I'm marking where I can see through the ice sole. This way you know you're completely covering what you're going to see through. Now we're going to peel this tape out and we're going to put it onto some poster board, stencil board, whatever you have available. Just something thicker than paper. I'm going to apply it to our poster board. Making sure that it lays as flat as possible with no wrinkles. Now we have our shape. We're going to cut it out, and we're going to use both the inside and the outside of the stencil. Okay, so now we have the shape of our ice sole, and that should fit in there perfectly. Okay, so now that we have our pattern that fits perfectly in here, we're going to remove it. I always like to mark the bottom because that's the side that we're going to need the artwork to show. So just mark it with an X. That way I know this is how I need the artwork. Once I got it exactly where I want to take this piece, put it inside, and then remove this. I do this so that when I go and I mark, it's not marking on part of the artwork that is going to be showing. Next step is going to be gluing this side of the artwork as well as this side of the sole. And we're going to give it about 5 minutes with this Renia glue before we place them together. But for now, I just want to make sure that everything fits correctly. Looks good. Very important to spread this glue thin. The thinner it is, the more clear it will be, and the better it will hold. So now my glue is dry, so it's time to install the artwork into the ice sole. I usually hover over the top just to make sure that I'm aligned correctly. Once I am, lay it down in there. Apply a lot of pressure just to make sure that's glued in there nicely. So now that we're here, final step is just putting the air unit back in. So I'm going to lay it in there, mark my glue line, and I'm going to glue all in here. Also this wall right here and the side of the air unit. another 5 minutes, and then we're ready to finish the soles. Now we're going to install. So I like to start in the back, make sure I get it all the way onto that wall. And there you have it. Your own artwork and your ISO. Pretty complicated, pain in the ass at times, but worth it in the end.